Hi Libras, and welcome to your September 2020 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky here to talk to you about the energies coming in for your sign in the month of September. Thank you so much for coming by, Libras. I'm really excited to look into your energy. So as I was meditating for a little bit on what's coming up for you, I felt really comforted in the understanding that as you're walking through your life, as you're moving through your day, as you're moving through your night, things can actually be much more enjoyable. Okay, what I'm feeling like Libra really needs to feel and secure and stabilize within is the fact that you guys really make your own reality. You really make your own situations in life. And it is definitely true that as we are moving toward your season at the end of the month, you may kind of start to feel a bit disoriented with the person that you've become or disoriented with the reality that you've crafted. And I think that what is so important for you is to just find comfort in the fact that you had the ability to craft it and that you now, by default, have the ability to continue crafting it. This is really a month for Libra to feel joy in the freedom and liberation that they have achieved over the last few years. I really feel like you're one of the leading signs when it comes to liberating yourself from like societal shackles, liberating yourself from what someone needs to do with their lives. You're really gaining this amount of control, and I kind of think this is how the Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto retrograde in Capricorn and just in Capricorn has played into your experience by square. It's like all these weird sort of frictional experiences come together just to liberate you further, hopefully. So if you're feeling a new degree of freedom, as is very possible in September, you might initially kind of move through that feeling in that space with a tendency to kind of fill that with odd experiences or weird chemical notions. Okay, so needing a lot of dopamine experiences. I talked about that on my Patreon page. If you guys want to check it out, I have like tea chats where I've talked about body chemistry as it relates to energy and functioning. I think that Libra is really called in September to start to get these issues together and to feel more confident with their body, as there is something a little bit watered down with the energies coming in for your sign. So if you can imagine drinking a cup of coffee and it's very nice, but it's also quite watery. It doesn't have the same effect. It is not quite as potent. Something is watered down. The taste of your experience to me does feel watered down in September, and this will last throughout Scorpio season, I think, in the general Libra experience. And upon hearing that, that might kind of seem like, oh no, does that mean that my life is going to be unexciting or boring? That's not what I'm getting at. What it feels like is that there is a dilution of things that are too potent and are causing a bit of a oversaturation of the sensory experience. So it's like the sensory aspect of your life does slow down a little bit. There's a slowing down that you experience. And as you slow down and as you foster this new wisdom that begins to come through, you start to rethink or reinvigorate essentially the recipe of your life. Like, what are all the contributing factors? What are all the contributing experiences for your day-to-day? And you can actually have so much power, especially in Virgo season, to adapt, like slowly, bit by bit, the recipe of your day or the recipe of your routine, adding in new things, adding in or taking out, or just having a lot of creative control and liberation over the ingredients of your life, basically. So I think that that's the most empowering thing for Libra this month, is being sort of an energetic chef. There's actually also a really big potential for you to find a new spark in a relationship, having Ace of Wands and Two of Cups coming up. And I guess let's just jump right into the week to week, because that is your first week. You are in the first week of September and throughout September, really understanding love in a new context. You're really reconnecting with yourself and first and foremost seeing that it's all about how you feel, all about the things that you create, all about the desire and compassion that you have for your own journeys and your own experiences. That is the apex of your love hierarchy. So before you get the relationship, you want so thoroughly to do what you're doing, then the relationship comes. Before you get the proposal or before you get the more contracted idea of love, you allow yourself to move onto a path that cannot fail with your current desires. Okay, there's a certain order of events that connects the solar plexus chakra, the sacral chakra, the root chakra, to a feeling of groundedness, to a feeling of divine humanity that really sets the vibration to only attract in the type of people that can be a really good relationship or can be really enjoyable or have potential to be a marriage or something. You can understand what it takes and actually generate energetically the experience or the job or the ideas that pave the way for the relationship you've always wanted. So first week of September is a great time just to philosophize about love and your relationships and what love has been to you, and understanding like what were your favorite relationships that you've had, and kind of connecting the dots and seeing like, wow, before that relationship that was so great came into my life, I was actually so fully behind my own purpose, even if it was only for a few days before that came in, and I glimpsed what it was like. Anybody who's had like true love in their lives, or anybody who's had like an incredibly like passionate, wonderful relationship, will know that before that came in, there were moments where they came into contact with their own life force and where they chose not to eclipse it and not to block it out. And that really is the recipe for a great relationship. So that's really what's coming up for you guys, is maybe an experience that is not a blockage or not an eclipse of your own true life force energy. And through that, you can have a new wonderful relationship. Week number 2 of September, Libras, you have the moon rooted down by 2 of Swords. Okay, so as things open up, as things become more purposeful, you do come into contact with the lens or the perspective of how things could never be or how things never needed to be. As we start to know more and more what we want, we come face to face with what we don't want so that we can filter and process and decide. So if there is something that comes up in the second week, Libra, that's inconvenient, do know that it is so you can move on from it. It's not just to throw it in your face. It's not just to overwhelm you. It's so that you can get better and better. These 2 cards have been coming up a lot this month for a lot of the signs, the moon and 2 of Swords. And that's because we are moving into a more direct motion with the Capricorn energy. So as we do that, we do definitely come into contact with the boundaries that we've set, okay, with the goals that we never needed, or the things that were just ego-oriented and not about who we actually are. Those things come up and those things bloom, and we choose whether we want to let them grow more or if we want to harvest them and just allow them their end. So second week, Libra, great time to be sober-minded, to be clear on who you are, to be working with the hours of the day, waking up with the sun, falling asleep with the moon, being very human, okay, very human. Third week, you guys have Ace of Pentacles rooted down by the Magician. Look at that windfall. Look at how great you guys are doing by the third week. That's when your season starts as well. The sun moves into your sign, and all of a sudden it's abundant, it's clear. You know what you need to do to get more time in your life, to get more money, to get more energy. You know what it takes, and you know how to do it with integrity, okay? That's one thing with the Magician, is we want to make sure it's with integrity. We want to make sure that we are honoring ourselves in and not accessing any type of what do I want to say? Like no types of feudal vibes when it comes to my, like, I'm going to keep working so that I make money. I'm going to keep being beneath all of those people so that I can make money. As we're evolving out of this retrograde Capricorn energy, I think that we have a great potential to evolve how we associate value, money, work, service, things like this. It has to really become much more Aquarian. We are moving towards Aquarius, which is very consolidating of the hierarchy. So great opportunity for you in the third week, Libra, to purvey your own sense of worth, to find new value that is not based on the control of another person. So yeah, launching your own business, not a bad time. all right? Not a bad time to just take on a new creative project. You might be surprised it could turn into a business. You'll actually see that a lot of people who have business success didn't start their business with the intention of a business. It was something that they just loved doing, and then it became monetarily successful as well. So that's an important thing to understand too. I suppose that there are venture capitalists who can go into a business and only think of money in relation to the business, but they're not really involved in the life blood of the business. They're a metric, they're a resource, so I think that some of that can kind of mix us up a little bit when we're thinking of how am I going to do a business, how am I going to fund it, what am I doing this for, what worth am I getting back. Do it because you love it, do it because it brings you joy, and it will naturally start to help you. For those of you who have any desires like that, that's not everybody. For those of you who already have like money or business or career sorted, I think a lot of you do, that just looks like it getting easier and easier to me. That looks like a promotion, yes, but it also looks like, for some of you, it's just like being given space or being given the resources to have space. It's not even about the resources. It's not about the time or the money or the energy. It's really about the freedom and the liberation to have control of your own life force. Week number 4, Libras, you have death rooted down by 10 of Swords. Oh my gosh. And we were doing so well. I'm just kidding. You're still doing great, Libras. That is a rare combination that comes up sometimes when our world kind of turns upside down a little bit, when we have a complete re-envisioning of the self. Oftentimes that can look like a breakup. If it's not a breakup, it doesn't mean it always is. It is a complete renovation or a complete ending to a certain chapter. And as you end, the sun rises and you have a complete transformation. I'm not surprised that that's happening for you guys as we get into the brunt of your season, the brunt of Libra season. There is, and I felt this for a while actually, that Libra energy is transforming. It is changing. It is becoming different. So that's not something that should worry you. That's not something that should freak you out. It is something that should bring you a sense of rejuvenation and clarity and honesty as well. Honesty is so good with those two energies, being truthful, being clear, being wholesomely accepting of the momentum that you've had and honoring it. Even if there's this feeling, that a sentimental feeling like, oh, I wish I had that, right? Or even a feeling for the future, like, I think I can do that. I would just really honor your present moment and make it a gift for yourself and give yourself that gift of time that you've always needed then to understand how this transformation could not just change the game, not just give you more opportunities in the future, but just kind of change up the way in which you experience the present moment, the moment right now. Can you just open up and let that be something that is not so crucial or not so conflicted or not so torn apart? That's what I usually see with those two cards coming together. And I talked a little bit about this in Virgo's reading too. We kind of tear ourselves apart sometimes. We kind of pull ourselves apart. We take out certain aspects of ourselves and examine them while the other part is in shadow. It's very 7 of Cups. And that is not really right. Okay, that's not right, because we've got to have a very holistic view of things right now. There's no need to examine individual parts. Look at things in a wholesome way. And that can mean different things to different people. Just think about it. Just think about what that could mean. Anyway, Libras, thank you so much for being here. What an incredible reading. I cannot wait for your season. I will be making a specific video about Libra season for the October video, so we will talk even more for you guys then. And otherwise, I am going to put together an extended reading for the Patreon page. If you guys haven't joined over on Patreon, you can get all the readings early and ad-free and all the extended readings. And I also do weekly tea chats over there where I take viewer requests and I talk about the week ahead. So it's a great value, and I'll be doing that for the rest of the year for sure. So be sure to come over and sign up. It's quite cheap and great value. So I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for coming by. And you can click the center of the screen now or the link below to jump over to Patreon for the extended reading. Bye, Libras.